electronics enthusiasts. Welcome back to another episode of Cool Electronics Guy. Where the electronics are always cool, and the guy, well, you can leave your comments below. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm so glad to be back. It's been about 2 months since our last video. We did post a few shorts. I hope you guys saw those. But we finally completed this video. Before we unveil our latest project, though, I'm sure you all can't wait to check out our beer of the day. Today we have a huge surprise for you. The beer of the day isn't a beer at all. I haven't seen a lot of really good beers locally lately, but my friends and I were planning a huge trip in March for the sole purpose of just going to pick up some amazing beers. There's like this huge beer store. I mean, it's like a warehouse, gigantic. Like if you took Walmart and just made like every aisle beer, that's like how huge this place is. And they got beer from all over the world. It's a couple hours from here, and my friends and I were going to go out there so we can get some good beer. But since I haven't had any good beers at all lately, I've been trying out different wines. So today's beer of the day is a wine. So one that I really enjoyed. And I seem to enjoy wine a little bit more this time of year in the winter than I do beer for some reason. And then, and again, a lot of good beers come out, you know, in the spring time too. So, anyway, this wine, it comes from a city in northern Italy called Trento. It's a smooth red blend. It's called Roscato. It weighs in at 13% alcohol by volume. This is a red wine. It's slightly on the dry side. I had tasted some notes of some berries and like a hint of vanilla in there. It was really interesting. It was really good. But if you're looking for a sweet wine, this definitely is not for you. It's dry, but it's not like crazy dry. I'd say it's kind of like a little closer to maybe a Cabernet. But it's not even, and that's not a very dry wine, but it's not even as dry as that, but it's close. So anyway, I think it was great. It was a great wine. I liked it. I sipped it with cheese and fruit. Had a glass with some spaghetti I made for supper the other day. It went really well with that. And I'm having a glass right now with you guys. So it goes good with electronics, just like every other alcoholic beverage. So yeah, if you like a moderately dry wine with a mild fruit taste, and you enjoy getting a good buzz, because it's 13%, I got a pretty good buzz. I recommend the Italia Roscato. So check it out and leave your comments below. So now let's get into today's project. I recently bought an RGB LED NeoPixel Ring right here. That I saw on Jameco Electronics. I buy a lot of stuff from Jameco. This is not an advertisement for them, but they got pretty good prices. They're out in California, so it takes 3, 4, or 5 days sometimes to get stuff here in New York. But I like them. They got a lot of stuff to buy for electronics. These LED rings, they come in a variety of sizes. This one I picked up, it's the 24 LED version. It's got 24. I think it's like a 16 or an 18 or a 12. I think this was like one of the bigger ones they had. They had some smaller sizes. But like I said, this is the 24 LED version. And I've never used one of these before, and I was really intrigued because each LED is individually addressable. So I figured I could do some pretty cool stuff with this. And I did, and we're gonna do it in this video. So here's a little backstory. I'm in the process of building a coffee table, a small coffee table, out of some red oak, and I knew that I wanted to add some LEDs somewheres on it, but I wasn't sure where. But I figured it would come to me, you know. So you know, kind of building the table and thinking about it, and I always like including electronics in my woodworking projects. So then I saw the NeoPixel Ring on Jameco's website, like I said before, and I felt like Doc Brown when he hit his head on the toilet when he envisioned the flux capacitor. I was like, yeah, this is it. I know exactly what I was going to do. So I'm going to take my router. I'm going to route out a circle in the middle of the coffee table, of course, the size of the NeoPixel Ring, and I'm only going to route out not the whole thing, just this much to fit the NeoPixel Ring down inside the center of it. And then I'll put a little bit below level, and I'm going to take a thin piece of plexi and cut it to fit it in there, so that the table's still flush on top. And I've got a PCB right here. I've got my socket in it. I'm going to take the PCB, and I've got a socket here, and I'm going to use this ATMEGA 328P microcontroller, which I also got from Jameco. And I'm going to mount this, once you solder it all together, I'm going to mount it underneath the table and run the wires through a little hole. I'll drill through the table, run these wires on the NeoPixel Ring down through there, and then solder it up. And I put my microcontroller, you know, right in the socket. This will be soldered, that'll be plugged in. I also bought, I bought this a long time ago. I've had it laying around. I've got this right here. I don't know if you guys know what this is just by looking at it. It's an HC-05 Bluetooth module. That'll get mounted on there and wired up like so. And I'll be able to sorry, I'm playing with it here. I'll be able to that'll be mounted. I'll try to show you how it's gonna be mounted. It's all gonna fall apart. Here we go. That'll be mounted under the table like that, underneath the table. I don't know if you can see it with my hand in the way. And then the NeoPixel will be wired up through the table. But I did all my prototyping for this project on this Arduino R3 that I had laying around. I got a lot of little microcontrollers laying around. I think I got some more over here. I don't know what I got here. I got a Raspberry Pi Pico. I got this, I don't know if you can see these, an Adafruit in there. So it's cool to have them laying around for different projects and different prototyping and stuff. Anyways, like I said, I'll be able to control this on my my cell phone, my Google Pixel 6 Pro, which I did a video on a while back. So check it out. I highly recommend that phone. But I had a difficult time when I was doing it in the prototype here. The wiring's really easy, but I was trying to work on the code to make the NeoPixel Ring do some different things. And you can see in the shorts video I posted, I was successful finally getting the code right. But I'm not really a great programmer. But I had some help from my 15-year-old son, who is way better at programming than I am. He's actually taught a few Python programming classes at his young age. But it turned out to be a really super simple project. Like I said, simple to wire, and I'll have all the parts that I used listed here in the video. You'll see, and the final product, I kind of already put it on a shorts video from the prototype board when I had it wired up to this. But I don't want to like mount this thing under my table. I want to save this for more prototyping on other projects. So today we're gonna actually build it with these parts here, and you'll see how it works. Alright, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is take this socket and solder it onto my circuit board here, my PCB. Fire up the old Weller. I hope you guys can see this, but I want to put it on something something hard. Let's see. We got a piece of wood laying around somewhere. All right, here we go. This is my the part you're seeing in the video is my electronics part of my workshop. Behind me is my wood shop. So I want to put it on something hard so that this is soft, and I want all the pins to come through equally in the back when I solder it. So I hope you guys can all see that. Grab some solder. And I don't know if you guys know how to solder or not. I usually set my iron for about 700 degrees and clean my tip. And if you haven't done much soldering before, it's really easy. You know, just tin the tip, and then you want to heat up what you're soldering, and then just let the I'll try and do an awkward position so you guys can see. So get the pad hot, put a little solder. Let it suck right into there. Oops. Yeah, shaky hands today. If I do it on each end, just so I know it's not going to move on me while I'm soldering, just to hold it in place. And there we go. And I'll just solder all the pins. I don't know if you guys want to watch me. I'm probably going to edit most of this out. I'm going to start on this side. Coming from the side, pushing some solder, easy peasy. See that? See how easy it is? You probably can't see because my hand's probably in the way. It's easy to solder, but it's awkward to solder on camera when you only have one camera and you're doing it by yourself, because my hand is probably in the way. But I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna actually put a better lens on the camera so I can zoom in a little more, so you guys can get a pretty good idea. Alright, that should be a little bit better for you to see. I put my 200mm lens on there. So you can check out the soldering here. It should be a little bit better for you to view. Let me just reach in my iron. There we go. And see, I'm going to go right in there, put some heat in there, and there you go. Boom. Very quick and easy. Boom. Easy peasy. Now, when you're using a microcontroller and you want to add it to a board like this, I recommend always getting a socket like I'm soldering on right now, because then you just plug in your microcontroller. You don't want to solder the microcontroller to the board, because then you take the risk of overheating it. So, and I gotta say, so this microcontroller, like I said, it's a ATMEGA, the what did I say it was? 328p. I couldn't think. Can you see it in there? It's in the package still. When I got it, it came with the socket, but this is not the socket that came with it. Like I say, I've always had good luck with Jameco, but the socket, when it came, it was all the metal clips that were inside of it. Half of them had fallen out, and which is no big deal. They go right in easily. You can pop them right in. I use a tweezer and pop them back in. But like some of them were like destroyed, like crazy bent. Like I couldn't even fix them to put them in there. So I got this one from Amazon. I bought a 10-pack. I can't remember. It was like dirt cheap just for the sockets for this. I think it was a 28 pin. How many pins is this? But I am not sure if this microcontroller that I bought is actually going to work. I don't know. It just looks like it's used to me. I took it out of the package and looked at it, and it doesn't look. And it doesn't look great. And then some of the pins that are on it, they're like really bent bad. And I was afraid to bend it back. I thought they were going to snap off, and but they didn't. And I'm going to go ahead and try it. But like I said, I bought a ton of stuff from Jameco. I never had a problem with them, except for this one time. So I hope you're enjoying the back of my hand, because that's probably all you're really getting to see. And that's it. Got a little solder in some spots I didn't want. I'll clean that out. Alright, and that should be all set. Whenever you are done with your solder iron, I mean, a lot of you probably already know this, but just in case you don't, I clean the tip off. And then you always want to protect your tip. You always want to tin the tip on both sides, or around it if it's a conical shaped one, and that protects it. And then I put it back in its holder. So there, we got that on there. You can see how easy it is to solder. Now here's our ATMEGA or Atmel microcontroller. It's the same exact one that they use on the Arduino R3. It's the same one, same number of pins, except this one looks like really nice. This one looks like, I mean, the words are getting all faded off of it, and it just looks second rate. Like I said, the pins are all bent. I'm gonna try and pop it in the socket. If it lines up all right. It's in. Now I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little notch on the end of these. There's a notch right here where we just soldered the socket we soldered on. There's a notch in there, and then the microcontroller has a little notch in it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but make sure the two notches line up, and then that's the direction it goes in. If I had the notch at the opposite end, that's wrong. And it's, you know, because each one of these pins, you know, labeled for to do something, you know. So you want it all the same direction. So like pin 22 is ground on this. If I had it the other way, it'd be over here. It just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be easy to know what you're doing when you're trying to wire it up for something. So that part's done. Now I just need to wire it up for the NeoPixel, and then we'll flash it with some code. And I'm just soldering it up in the back here, wiring it up. I use my little clamp to hold everything, and I'm just soldering this lead to 5 volts, where I know the 5 volt pin will be on the microcontroller. There we go. And then that'll go to the NeoPixel Ring. And now I'm going to solder ground. It's pin 22. I got my wire all set. I stripped it down and I bent it to the shape I wanted, and I tinned it. And now I'm just going to attach it. Maybe. Hopefully. If you can, I'm trying to do it so I'm not in your way, but I'd like you to see it. There, that was successful. I got that attached, and I just want to say, when soldering, you can see I try to keep the wires as straight as I possibly can. If it's nice and organized, you know, I use red for voltage, black for ground, and if you keep everything organized, if you have to troubleshoot down the road, it's really easy. If you have a mess of wires, you know, it's like a nightmare. So I've got that on there. Alright, now I am going to take a 220 ohm resistor. I always use my label maker, and I make little stickers for my little packages I put them in. Although they do come labeled, I still like to, you know, if I take the whole thing out of the bag, I want them all in order, all nice, so I try to keep them organized. So let me take out one of those, and we're going to connect that to what would be pin 3 on the R3, the digital pin 3 with pulse width modulation. I always test my resistors on my ohm meter, which is right outside of the camera view here, you can't see it, and 219.7, so that's a 220 ohm. We're gonna solder this on next, and I got the one end soldered on there for pin 3, and I'm going to attach the other end for the NeoPixel Ring. You just want to heat the pad up, push your solder into it, and I always use a little tweezer to help me out. Put that right in there. Oops. And you always want to keep it nice and neat, just like that. So that's looking pretty good. And that's nice and small, that module that I'm building here, the circuit board. And it'll be nice and concealed under the table I'm going to build. Nobody will ever see it under there. So that's going to work out well. And now I just attached the NeoPixel Ring. I soldered that on, the wire leads. Now I just got to hook up power. And there it is, all finished. So that is what I am going to inlay into the center of the table that I'm making. And I'll be able to control it with my phone. But just letting it go on its own with what I programmed it with is, you know, I think it's pretty awesome. So I think it'd be a great centerpiece for a table, especially in the dark. Hope you guys can see that. I got these bright lights on. I don't know if I can shut that light off without... I say, no, I can't shut that light off. So that does it. That's this project, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. The programming, you know, you can look at that because I'm posting a pic of that for you guys to look at. But you know, pretty straightforward project, and for something that's, you know, pretty easy to wire up and pretty cheap to buy. I can't remember what I paid for that, but it really wasn't that expensive. Look at all the cool stuff you can do, and you could apply it to like any project that you want, and you're gonna have a cool looking project. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. You know, please always subscribe. We appreciate your support. Ring the bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming projects. And we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Have a good one.